everyone, my name is Masha Nuts, and today I want to teach you how to make this beautiful bracelet. I love this bracelet. It has such a cool effect with this kind of wrapped around rainbow. I think it looks absolutely awesome. And it's also not that difficult to make. A lot of these rows are candy stripe rows, so the only real quote-unquote difficult part would be this. But as you'll see within this tutorial, that's not really difficult as well. Of course, if you've never made bracelets before, definitely don't start with this one. I have a beginner's guide video, which is a great starting point if you've never made bracelets before. It's kind of like a general overview on friendship bracelets and points you to where to start. And I would recommend you start with the classic chevron, for which I also have a tutorial. This is a fairly simple tutorial, but going into it, I do expect that you've made at least a few bracelets before and are familiar with the basic knots. So I won't be showing the knots, I will just be telling you which knots to make. But that being said, let's get into it. I wrote a book. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Friendship Bracelets, and it's a collection of photo tutorials aimed at beginners that will take you all the way from the basics to the advanced stuff so that you can make bracelets yourself. The book comes out on August 23rd in the US, which is really soon, and about a month later everywhere else in the world. It's available for pre-order now pretty much anywhere you typically buy books, and you can also purchase it as a bundle with the paperback and the ebook from my publisher at rockynook.com. I have a link directly in the description for you. If you do decide to pre-order, which I would really appreciate it because it helps the book so much, make sure to send a screenshot of your order confirmation to my publisher at rockynook.com/friendship to be entered to win in the giveaway. And if you get it, I really hope that you like it. For this bracelet, you will need 8 colors. 7 of those colors are the colors of the rainbow, and of course you're gonna need the black, or whatever other background color that you choose. So you're going to need 1 string per colour for each of the colours, and 7 strings of the background colour. Since there's an uneven number of strings per colour, it's going to be quite difficult to do a loop here, so I'm going to be starting with a half triangle end, which I'll show you in just a second. But because of that, every single string should be about 1 meter long. Alright, I've now cut my strings and attached them to my workspace. Don't forget to leave 10 to 15 centimeters of string just off to the side to make ties with later on. This bracelet follows the shape of a candy stripe, at least partially. So because of that, I'm going to do a half triangle end. Now I have a separate tutorial on triangle ends and on half triangle ends as well, which will be linked in the card and in the description for you to get more information if there's something that you don't quite understand from what I'm going to be explaining here. But really all you need to know is the color order to make a half triangle end. The color order for this is going to be the rainbow strings first, from red to purple, and then all of the black strings. In this bracelet, we're going to do a half triangle end by making backward knots. So I've got the red string, and I'm going to make a backward knot on the entire bundle of strings at the same time, thus bringing that red string out just on its own. Next, I do the same thing with the orange string, except I don't make a knot on the red string. That one is separate now. I'm just making a knot on the rest of the bundle. Next, the yellow string and all the rest of the colors of the rainbow in order, and then all of the black strings. So we're bringing out the strings one by one. Alright, so now all of your strings are in the correct order. It's time to start the bracelet. The first 7 rows of this bracelet are literally just the candy stripe. So for each of the colors of the rainbow, we are just going to make a candy stripe row. And when I say that, I mean we're going to take the outermost string, which is the red, for this row, and we're going to do a row of forward knots along each of these strings individually in order until the red string reaches the end. Let's do it. Alright, so that first row of the candy stripe is now done. We take the next color and we do a row of forward knots with the orange along all of these strings individually until it reaches the end, and then also over the red string. So for each of these colors, we're going to do a row of candy stripes. So I'm going to fast forward through this bit. That took me a while, but that's now done. Let's continue. So now we're going to focus on making the little triangle, that's the black triangle on the left here. And to do that, we're going to separate the rainbow strings from the black strings. because we're not going to be using the rainbow strings for now. And what we're really going to be doing here is we're going to be taking the outermost string and we're going to be doing a row of candy stripe, but only up until this last black string. We're ignoring the rainbow strings completely. They're not playing a role in this bit. So we take the outermost string, we do a row of candy stripe until that last string. Then we take the next string and we do a row of candy stripe up until this same last string. We ignore the string that we brought out already. Then the next one, and again, until the same last string. So every time we do that row of candy stripe, we're going to be doing 1 knot less. So we start off with doing 6 knots, so 6 forward knots. Then we do 5 forward knots with the next string, 4 forward knots with the string after that, 3 with the string after that, 2 with the string after that, and finally just 1 forward knot. Hopefully that makes sense. You can also have a look at the pattern here and kind of see what I'm talking about. So again, the first string we're taking is going to make 6 forward knots up until this last string. The next one's going to do 5 up until that last string, and so on. So I'm just going to do that. Alright, that is now done, and you can see the bracelet is sort of starting to twist itself a little bit. This can happen with candy stripe shaped bracelets, so I'm just gonna sort of use my fingers to adjust it a little bit. Maybe when I continue the bracelet after I finish this tutorial, I'm going to repin it, sort of bring that tape down a little bit and tape it down here, so it's more of a sort of even force that I'm pulling on the bracelet, because right now I'm just pulling on that one sort of area and kind of distorting the bracelet a little bit. So yeah, don't worry about it. You can absolutely sort of fix that with your fingers and sort of manipulate the strings a little bit and the knots to form nicely. But just wanted to point that out in case you were also experiencing that. So that triangle is now done. Let's move on. All right, so now we need to create the sort of diamond shape thing in the middle. There are multiple ways of doing this. You can do this row by row, which a lot of people do. So you would start with the red knot, for example. The one that goes to the left is a backward knot. Then you would do the 2 forward knots with the black. Then you would do 3 backward knots with the red, orange, and the yellow. Then you would do 4 forward knots with the black, and so on. You can absolutely do that, but I'm going to do it again in a sort of candy stripe-ish shape, just because I find that that is kind of less switching of strings, and I feel like that would save a little bit more time, but you can do it the other way as well. So again, similarly to how we just did that triangle where we stopped at a specific string and we didn't go further than that, we're going to do the same thing here. For the first row, it's obvious. We're going to stop at the purple string. But then, after some time, we're going to have some black strings here because we're going to be moving them from left to right. We are still going to be stopping at the purple string. So let me explain what I mean. So first, let's isolate the 2 strings in the center. That's going to be the black and the red string. We're going to be moving in this direction, so in the same direction of the candy stripe, sort of this diagonal form. And we're going to be moving this black string across until the edge. But the knot that we're going to do is going to flip-flop every time. So we're going to start with a backward knot. So this red string is going to do a backward knot on the black string. The next string it encounters is going to be the orange string. We're going to flip the knot. So now we're going to be doing a forward knot with the black string onto the orange string. Next string we encounter is the yellow, and again we're flipping it. We just did a forward knot, so now we're doing a backward knot with this yellow string onto the black string. So essentially what we're doing is we're making a knot of each colour with a spacing of a black knot in between. So the red did a knot, the yellow did a knot, the orange was the space. The green is now going to be the space again. Then we encounter the blue, the light blue, and that's going to do a knot of its colour, so a backward knot. And then the black, we just did a backward knot, so we're doing a forward knot, the space. And finally, the purple string is going to do a backward knot. And there we go, the string of black is now on the right side. So hopefully that made sense. It's kind of in the shape of a candy stripe, and we're moving that black string from left to right, but we're flip-flopping which knot we do. So first we started with a backward knot, then a forward knot, then a backward knot, then a forward knot, and so on. Except now, it's gonna go in the other direction as well. So we're doing a knot of a color, then a space, a knot of a color, then a space, knot of a color, space, knot of a color. Let's grab the next black string. It has to go in spaces in the other direction. So now, we did a knot of a color, so the red. In this direction, we need to do do a space, then the knot of the next color, and so on. The space here would mean that we need to do a knot of the black. So we're going to start with a forward knot. So again, we're flip-flopping the knots every time we encounter a string, but we're also flip-flopping which knot we started with. Last row, we started with a backward knot. This row, we're starting with a forward knot. I really hope that makes sense. So starting with a forward knot onto that red string, then the next string does a backward knot. The next string does a forward knot, the next string does a backward knot, the next string does a forward knot, and so on until we reach the purple string. That black string that we brought out last time is off to the side. We're paying no attention to it. We're just going to do it until the purple string. So let's do it, flip-flopping the knots every time. Alright, there we go. Now we've got two black strings to the side. Again, we're paying no attention to them. We're just doing it until the purple string. So we're going to do this exact same thing over and over again until we run out of black strings on the left side. We need to move all of the black strings from the left side to the right side. So again, we started last time. We did a forward knot with the black string onto the color string. Now we flip it and we do a backward knot. So the red string is going to do a backward knot on the black string, and so on. So I'm going to do this for the remaining black strings, and then we'll catch up about the next step. Alright, there we go. We've moved all of the black strings from the left side to the right side. Now the color strings are on the left again. Now all we have left to do is the triangle of black on the right side, and then the pattern repeats. So this triangle is kind of similar to the first one, but a little bit different. We're going to start with the smallest amount of knots and then move towards the biggest amount of knots. So we're going to start with 1, then go 2, 3, and so on. We grab the first 2 strings, we just do a forward knot between them. We grab the next string, and that one does a forward knot on each of the 2 strings one by one. So we started with 1 knot, now we're doing 2 forward knots. The next string now does 3 forward knots. The next string after that will do 4 forward knots, the next string after that 5, and the final one will do 6. So I'm going to speed through this bit. And there we have it. The repeating part of the bracelet is now fully complete. The strings are now in the exact order they were at the beginning. And to continue this bracelet, you can rewind this tutorial to the start and do the candy stripe rows again, followed by that row of triangle again, followed by the diamond, and followed by the triangle again, and then rewind again and repeat it again. So you need to repeat these steps as many times as you need until the bracelet reaches the length that you want. There are timestamps in the description for you to skip around this video easily. I'm going to go finish this bracelet off camera, and I'll see you once I'm done. Alright, I've now finished the bracelet and I'm ready to do the half triangle end. Once again, I have a full in-depth tutorial on triangle ends, which will be linked in the description, but just briefly, here's how you do it for the end. Grab the 2 outermost strings and do a backward knot. Grab the string next to that and do a backward knot on both of those strings at the same time. Grab the string after that and do a backward knot on all 3 of the strings at the same time. Now grab the next one and do a knot on the entire bundle at the same time, and so on and so forth. You keep grabbing the next string and doing a backward knot on the bundle until you run out of strings. And now that that's done, you're ready to create the ties. I'm going to be making twisted ties, for which I also have a separate tutorial which will be linked in the card and in the description. And this is how the bracelet turned out. I absolutely love it. As I said, I really enjoy this kind of wraparound effect that the rainbow makes throughout the design. I've made a similar pattern to this before, which is wider, and I loved that one too. So let me know if you want a tutorial on that. I might just do it. But anyway, this bracelet was really fun. I hope you enjoyed it as well. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. I'll try to respond to as many as I can. Before I go, I do want to give you a quick reminder that my book is coming out on August 23rd, The Beginner's Guide to Friendship Bracelets, and it's available for pre-order now. And if you do pre-order, make sure to send a screenshot of your order confirmation to my publisher at rockynook.com/friendship. That way, you'll be entered to win a giveaway. I also want to give a special shout out to my patrons, and especially my top supporters. It is with your support that I make these videos, so thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate it. If you also want to become a patron and support the work that I do on this channel, the link to my Patreon is in the description. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you end up making this bracelet, definitely tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see your photos. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!